This video is brought to you by Toysorama UK. Use promo code TurtleTalk upon checkout and receive up to 10% off of these selected lines. That's promo code TurtleTalk. Link is in the description. What is going on, toy fan? Project Piper Customs here, and welcome back to a brand new installment of Toy Photography, a beginner's guide. And if you're new to toy photography and you want to do more with your collection, then this series is just for you. So please be sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so you can stay up to date for when a new episode drops. And in this episode, we are concluding the current subject, which is lighting, and this is part 2. And today we'll be looking at daytime lighting, interior lighting, and comic book style. So let's get to it. Welcome back, toy fam, to part 2 of lighting. Okay, and we're going to be exploring daytime shots, and of course with daytime comes a whole different lighting setup. And with this one, as you can see, there is no diorama. All right, literally just the figure. Okay, and yeah, so what we got here, we got Falcon, and he's flying through the sky. Very, very simple. A bit of a complex setup though. As you can see, we've got him on a Mezco flight stand, which has been hidden by the wing, as we're going to be focusing really on Sam's head. All right, so you won't see the flight stand at all, and of course the clip from this angle pretty much just disappears. And yeah, we've got some polyester in the back, which is helping simulating some cloud. Okay, and yeah, as I said, obviously from part 1, polyester really helps, and there's a good way of simulating some steam or cloud when it's out of focus. Just passes for smoke or anything of that density. Okay, and yeah, and of course, as my wallpaper is already a cloudy blue, yeah, I use that as a sky backdrop. Okay, so it's just handy, already there, production value. All right, so I have gone ahead and worked out my foundation lighting, so I will take you through that right now. So starting with this one up top. Okay, so we've got this one, and that will be casting light down to here, just across his wings, and giving you a little bit of rim lighting. As you can see, the yellow light is aiming over there, and that is what, with this scenario and this setting, my sky, the sunlight is going to be aimed over that corner. Okay, so that's where I'm going to have my sunlight. Okay, and so yeah, so that's the one for the backdrop. We have one for the center, and for the foreground we have this one here. Okay, and it's just positioned on him enough to capture his face, but also cast some nice shading. Okay, so I had a little bit of a play through the viewfinder, and got it to how I wanted it. And yeah, we're going to be using all 3 of the ULANZI cubes. So you've got a couple there. So this one here is got a blue filter on, and that's really going to be hitting the back wall and giving that sky blue a much more vibrant color. Got another blue one over there, which is aiming upwards to sort of eliminate some of the shadowing that's going on over there, because obviously the clouds are providing some shadowing. And we've got this one here. Okay, and that one is just aimed a little bit upwards, just got it resting on my camera lens Ujima flip. I've forgotten the name. Okay, and that's just going to be hitting the clouds, hitting a little bit of backdrop, and also covering some of his body, and that's just white. There's no gel on that at all. Okay, so so yeah, let me show you the framing. All right, bring you up here. All right, so there we have him in the frame. He's centered. I'm playing with that axis with the wings. Okay, as you can see, you've got the clouds there. All right, so that's what we've got going on right now. As you can see, the flight stand is pretty much hidden entirely. All right, so you're going to turn some lights on, and yeah, get a look in the viewfinder and see how we're getting on. All right, and here we are with all the lights on. As you can see, you've got quite a bit of variation with the cloud. Okay, there's a little bit of shadowing over in this top corner, but I'm going to fix that by blowing some vape across that area, so it sort of masks it. Okay, and then we're going to take a shot and then see how we do before my battery runs out. Alright, and there it is. Really, really happy with how this one turned out. Okay, as you can see, we've got some nice cloud variation and some nice blues in the backdrop. And yeah, the figure's well lit too. So let's break away and have a look at the lighting before they decide to die on me. Okay, I've already had one die on me tonight. So as you can see, we've got this ULANZI cube pumped up to the max, hitting that back wall with some nice blue. I did move it a bit closer, and also I brought this one out and tilted it at an angle. That one's pumped up as well. Okay, we have our uplight here, which is hitting the back, and of course we have this one here hitting the backdrop as well. Okay, and all of this, and then what I did is I just hit a vape cloud right down the back, okay, right past his wings, right at the back into that corner, which eliminated some of this shadowing, and yes, what residual shadowing was there is causing that nice variation. Okay, so I have got my 3-point lighting still, got the one on the backdrop, got the one focused on the center, and of course I've got one on the figure. Okay, and this one here is just, again, as I said before, just cutting across his face. You know, it's not illuminating it to the point where it's washing everything out, but it's just highlighting the figure enough. Okay, so with daylight shots, definitely hit the backdrop with as much light as possible, okay, to eliminate as many shadows as possible. Alright guys, here we are with another setup, and this time we're bringing you back from the sky down to the streets and looking at daytime shots down on street level. Okay, so as you can see here, the shot is very simple. Haven't got any of the foundation lights on yet, but there's a reason for that. But over the shot itself, we are looking at Raph, and he's just having a nice afternoon stroll on his way back. Pretty simple. As you can see, we're utilizing those diode pieces again, same ones I used for me alleyway at night in part 1. Alright, just arranged differently to give you an alleyway sort of side road cut through, give you a bit of depth. Okay. Alright, let me pull you away, and you can have a look at the setup. Now I've got my microphone there, that's actually holding up this wall. Alright, if I bring you up here, that snake neck light, which is actually not going to be a light, as you get a good look at me, a shelf of figures there, that's actually holding up this wall here. And of course we've got the wall at the back. Okay, now if you can peek through, you can see we have Marty and a girl. Okay, I'm just using them as a generic background couple with their motorcycle just in the background parked up, and they haven't noticed Raph walking by. Of course he is in disguise. Okay, and that's pretty much it. You know, I've got some rubbish here. Okay, I sort of pulled out me a little bin of rubbish, just trying to create some trash and some litter strewn across the street. Not too much. Okay, not too much, but just enough to give it, you know, a bit of a grimy feel. Okay, and that is it. Now I have my foundation lights set up. Okay, I managed to fiddle with them, but I'm going to go over them with you in a second. But before I do, the whole thing with daylight, okay, especially if you're going to be doing daylight where the environment is at the ground, whether it be a street or something like that, if the daylight in your environment is being blocked by anything or have any obstacles like trees, walls or anything, it's going to create shadows. Natural shadows. Now I have my window open, it's daytime right now. You can see the natural shadows already. Okay, you can see one there. Okay, you can just see where the light is forming here and just cutting across, creating that shadow. And you can see one on the ground over there where Marty is. It's that line. Okay, natural shadows. Okay, and this is giving me a feel for shadow play with the daylight. Okay, so imagining yourself in this environment, and for me in this environment I'm wanting my sunlight to come from that corner. Okay, so over on this side I'm imagining that is where sort of the high street is, where all the shops and the hustle and bustle is, and the main road. And of course we have a side off spur here, this road, side road here, and then of course it leads off into an alleyway behind the main shops or apartments. Okay, so if the daylight is up there, then of course it's going to cut through and break into some nice shadows, and that's kind of what I wanted. Okay, so I'm going for where sort of Marty and his missus are sort of there, illuminated by some breaking sunlight, and it's casting a shadow down this alleyway. And I'm going to have a little bit of trickle light coming from here, and that's just going to slightly illuminate Raphael's face, so you can see it's him, and he's just sort of blending into the shadows wherever he can. Alright, so that's what I'm going for. Alright, so with lighting, I have my trusty light here, okay, and it's over this side, and it's actually pointing away from the setup up here, but the residual light is enough to cut across and just illuminate his face. Okay, up there on the boxes you can see my ULANZI cube. That is going to be one of the main sources of the sunlight I use. Just going to be white with the filter on. Okay, and over there in the corner you can see my other lamp right here. I've got stuff everywhere, but over here, and that's going to be yellow light pointing that way, and the residual light is just going to cut across and just give you some yellow illumination, and that's it. That is it. No additional color when you're going for daylight. All right, but brighter, the brighter the lights, the better. But obviously, if it's too bright, you can cut them down with filters and tissue paper. Okay, but if you've got big lamps, as I say, big lamps, you will, you know, you'll halve the number of lights you'll actually need. Obviously, because the bigger the lamp, the more light's going to enter into your setup. For me, in my little work area, obviously, it's not very big, so my lamps, I'm going to have to just resort to the little ones for now. Okay, so that is the setup. Just a quick overview, and of course now we're going to flick the lights on. I'm going to get you down to the camera, into the viewfinder, and I'm going to show you what I'm on about. Alright, and here we are with all the lights on. Got my ULANZI cube on, got my lamp, got my other lamp. Okay, and that's just putting all the light into the scene. And let me bring you down to the viewfinder now. Alright, and there we have it. Okay, so this is it currently through my viewfinder. As you can see, the white box in the corner, that's my focusing box. So it's all focused up. Okay, just got the silhouette of the trash can up there. Okay, as you can see, it's just poking in this corner here. Alright, framing wise, you can see Marty over here in the background. So it's creating, you know, some nice silhouette as a contrast to Raf, who's forward. Obviously you've got this little area here, which is the balcony. Okay, you've got the nice buildings, and you've got lots of trash. And yeah, it just gives you, adds to the environment. All right, as you can see with the lighting, I have my light coming in the corner. It's creating some nice shadows, silhouette in this lot. Okay, and my light over here in that corner. Okay, now if I turn it, this is where I get to play with shadows. Okay, so I'm imagining some light breaking from around the corner, and it's just highlighting his face enough, but not his lower legs. If I do that, then obviously he's fully bright, but with here, as I can twist the neck, I can play with the shadowing. Okay, so I'm going for about there. Alright, so it's just enough to where he's visible, but in the shadows as he's making his way back home to the sewer in the daytime. Alright, so again, it's just imagining yourself in the environment where you want the sun to be. Okay, and playing with the shadows from within your environment. Alright, we are back on the table with yet another setup, and yeah, we're changing things up this time, as you can see. Okay, so we are going to be looking at interior lighting. Alright, and someone in the comment section of my last video was really interested in learning about interior lighting and how it differs from exterior lighting. Alright, so we're going to be taking a look at that, as there is slight differences. So here we have a little bit of an amalgamation. This is a mashup between two of the apartment dioramas I have. Okay, as you can see, we've got a big open area here, but we're not going to be focusing on that area. We're going to be focusing on this dark corridor. Oh yes, we are. Okay, so with that, what I want to do is this. Okay, and show you who we're working with. And as you can see, we have Mr. Wick, all right, lurking in the shadows. And now he's illuminated through the window. Okay, so this is one of the areas where you are limited in terms of the environmental lighting as opposed to interior. All right, so with an external setting like we had with the loading bay warehouse, you can decide where the environmental lighting is coming from, whether it be from the sun or the moon. You can decide where you want it depending on how you've set up your display. Okay, where you want the streets, the street lighting, anything like that. Okay, but for interior lighting, when it comes to the environment, you are limited with doors and windows for your light source to come through. All right, you get to choose what color, right, and you get to choose where your window is going to be, depending on how you set up your display. But when it comes to environmental lighting, you are limited with doors and windows being the area where it's going to peer through. Okay, but that is also where some fun can be had. As you can see, we've got a nice, moody, ominous setting right here. Okay, interior lighting, where it be more of a nighttime interior, you can then have controllers to where you want your interior lighting to be. Obviously you can have some in the ceiling, obviously you can have lamps, you can have light coming from electronics like a TV, stuff like that, and the fun can be had in terms of how you're going to execute it. Okay, because there are going to be pockets of shadows where you're going to have lights, and that's fun to set up to try and get it real as possible, or you know, just have some fun. But here with this setting, okay, we're going to be exploring some daylight, interior daylight, and we've got daylight coming through the window. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to turn the room lights off. I'm going to get the other foundation light on, which is over there, which is going to be drip feeding some light just in and around into that corridor. Okay, and I'm going to show you how it looks in the viewfinder. Alright, and we'll see you in a second. Okay, we have the room lights off. We have the second foundation light on, and as you can see, it's just casting a nice light around the corner, illuminating the corridor. Okay, John Wick's silhouette is going to be picked up in that slightly, and obviously we've still got the light coming through the window. So we're going for, again, more of a daytime shot, but having the only light source be environmental sunlight coming through windows and just around the corridor from, say, another window that's off camera. Alright, so now we're going to have a look at it in frame and see how it looks. Okay, bring it down. As I say, trying to record a bright screen is going to brighten the whole thing up, so I need to turn down the brightness so we can actually see the image through my camera. Okay, it's like camera inception. But as you can see, we're getting the effect that I'm after, with the light coming through the window being what's illuminating John. See down there, we have the light coming through around the corner. Okay, and that's where some fun can be had, because obviously you don't, as I said before, you don't have to have white light. You can have yellow, blue, green, hell, purple even. You can set the mood with whatever color you want. Obviously you're just limited as to where the light's coming from. Alright, especially if you're doing a daytime shot. Okay, nighttime's a bit different, because I say again, you can play around with the what would be electronical light, you know, the ceiling lights or anything like that. Okay, but I do like this mood, which is kind of what I'm going for. So John Wick is just coming out the shadows, breaking through into some light, and you can see that he's coming for you. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a quick shot and see how that looks. So we'll do that now. Alright, click the button, bosh. Alright. Oh yeah. Yep, I really am digging that mood. Okay, with that light coming around the corner, light coming through the window. Obviously there's a little bit of colour in there, but I might jazz this up a little bit more, maybe introduce our friend atmosphere, throw a bit of that in there, see if I can get a good maybe some kicked up dust coming through on the light beam of the window. So we're going to have a little play with that. But what I wanted to show you here is when you want to do different lights, obviously we have our ULANZI cube here with yellow gel on. Alright, so you can have this room lit up. Okay, and if we go back to Mr. Viewfinder, okay, and then with that light in the corridor now, you can then play with light coming through the door. Okay, whoosh. Okay, this is where you can have some fun with some shadows and aiming your interior light to create some more drama. Or you can stuff it down the back, have a yellow light coming through. Okay, all sorts of fun can be had. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tinker with this a little bit more and see if I can get some drama, some oomph, elevate it a bit more with a little bit of atmosphere. But in terms of lighting, I think the mood is nice and set. Okay, and if you saw this, if you saw Mr. Wick coming around the corridor, I would be running the other way. Alright, so I'm going to work on this one, see the finished shot at the end, but for now we're going to move on to another setup. Alright, and here we are at the end with another setup, and we're going comic book style with this one. Alright, as you can see, we've got the Jim Lee X-Men there all posed up, and it's kind of going for a cover art sort of showcase shot. Alright, so we've got all the boys in position, posed up, pretty much as if the camera has just insulted all their mothers. Looks like they're all about to attack the camera. So yeah, we've got them all poised up, and this is comic book style for me really, because we're employing the white hot background, and you can also do this with the plain colored backdrop as well. Okay, and yeah, the idea when lighting this, when it comes to lighting, is you want to hit the backdrop with as much light as possible, so that it eliminates shadows and also helps make the backdrop pop, so you can give your figures a nice silhouette. Okay, but mainly to eliminate all the shadowing. Obviously you can bring the setup further away, which will help eliminate shadows too, but if you're not in a position to do that, if your work area is very small, then flooding the backdrop with lots of light, especially with a white hot and plain white, or a plain color, yeah, that will help massively in eliminating all the shadows and giving you a nice crisp backdrop. Okay, so for the lighting with this one, if you have big lights and big lamps, you won't need many. One, maybe two will be enough to help get enough coverage of light on your backdrop. But as I'm in my little work area, we are of course employing the ULANZI cubes. So we've got one over here, and that's hitting sort of the bottom and the middle of this area. Alright, we've got one here on this post here, and that's hitting this side. We've got a trusty ring light, which is helping cover the top in this corner, and then of course we've got this lamp here, which is help making all the figures visible in the camera. Okay, so yeah, that is our lighting system, but there is of course a third ULANZI cube, and it is in play in this set. Alright, and I'll show you where it is, and it is behind here. There we are, we've got in position there, and I've put a makeshift cardboard cover on the top, and that's just to help filter the light more forward so there's no bleeding outwards, and it will help direct the light straight underneath Xavier's floaty chair, because as you can see there, we have got a little clear plastic case, which is what it's hovering on. Alright, and that's just a clear plastic case from my coloured gels for the ULANZI cube. Just pinch the case for it. And with the clear plastic case and having a light pass straight through it, we are also adopting some polyester, good old trusted polyester. I would have used vape, but I'm going to be needing both my hands for this shot, so I won't have any opportunity to vape. So we're using the polyester to create some sort of steamy mist underneath the hover chair to make it look like it's hovering, and when the light's passing straight through it, it will help sell that effect and the illusion. Alright, so here's the setup. Now what we're going to do is we're going to turn all the lights on, we're going to turn the room light off, and we're going to have a look at it in frame. See you in a second. Alright, and here we have all the lights on. Okay, backdrop is nice and lit up. Alright, we've got the one underneath the chair, and that's giving us that awesome effect when it's hitting the polyester. Okay, and it also helps us provide a reason as to why you're not seeing Gambit or Colossus's legs in the shot. Okay, and we just got this little prop here just helping Beast's hand get in the scene, because the whole frame, the whole bottom of the framing is going to be where the ground is, so it looks like they're all standing at the bottom of the picture frame, and that's just helping him bring his hand up into and make it more visible. Alright, so with all the lighting in place, alright, now we're going to have a look, see what it's like on the viewfinder. Okay, so there we are. As you can see, everyone is nicely in position. Alright, backdrop is nicely well lit. Alright, but there is a couple of other things I want to add to this picture, and that's going to involve these. Okay, so we've got two laser pointers. We're only going to be using one as a laser pointer. So what I would like to do is use this laser pointer here, which is red, and have Gambit's card effect illuminated. Alright, which when you hit a laser pointer onto a translucent effect really pops. As you can see, it's popping on camera right now. Imagine how it's going to pop in the shot. So that is one I want to employ, and that's going to be one hand. And then the other trick is to use this one, which is also a laser pointer, but as I said before, it's also a torch. Okay, and I want to provide some overhead lighting across like this. Okay, so I'm going to be using both of these as the shutter's going to try and capture it all in one hit. Alright, so I won't be able to do it right as I've got the camera in hand, but we are going to do one at a time so you can see how both look. Alright, so here we are in frame. As you can see, that's what it looks like on camera. Okay, so as we're going to do this, and hopefully I can get the timing right. Hopefully that got that. Yeah, there we are. Alright, so that's how it looks through the viewfinder. Alright, so that's one trick. And also, when I get the power, we're going to be doing this. Alright, so as the shutter's open, I'm going to have it over beast, and I'm just going to bring it across like that very quickly before the shutter closes. Alright, so we're going to be doing that in 3, 2, and there you have it. It just adds a little bit more depth with the shadows and brings everyone's colours of their costume a bit more brighter in the picture. Alright, and when you combine the two, when I'm trying to do them both at the same time, then it's really going to be nice. Okay, so there you have it. Alright, so we're employing a few tricks here, flooding your backdrop with lots of light, especially when it's one plain colour. Okay, and yeah, translucent effects, laser pointers are your friends. I have a whole video on my channel regarding this. I will link it in the description. When it comes to translucent effects, laser pointers are your friend. Okay, and also getting hands-on, right, with some handheld stuff. Oh, that one's just died. I've got to charge that up before I take the main shot now. Fun, but when you see it at the end, it will all be fine. But yeah, so when you add additional light, sometimes you got to get handsy yourself. When it comes to toy photography, lighting is one of the most important factors. Your posing could be on point, your framing could be fire, and your setup could be awesome. But none of that's going to mean anything if the lighting is off. Lighting is what brings the setup to life. It's what adds drama. It's what conveys the mood. But the beauty with lighting is that it's all experimental. There is no exact formula outside of the 3-point system. If you use the 3-point lighting system as a foundation and build from there, eventually you'll develop your own style. So keep playing, keep experimenting, and light up those figures. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, hit the like button and the notification bell, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.